Hello and welcome to Rathod's IAS. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 12th July 2023. So without wasting any time, let us see which are the topics that we are going to discuss. And we are going to see detailed analysis, and we are going to cover both static and as well as dynamic part. Okay, and if it is possible, we are going to also see some previous questions of prelims and as well as mains. And daily we are going to see a map, because in prelims every year you can expect a map based question. So if there is any country is in news, so you will be getting a question regarding the countries which are bordering that country. Okay, so last year the question based on Afghanistan, and this year prelims the question based on Ukraine. So we can't expect which country will be coming in the next year. So we are going to cover at least one country every day, so that will be helpful for you as well. So the first topic we are going to discuss about recent amendment. Okay, so proposed amendments to Forest Conservation Act of 1980. So this Forest Conservation Act is very important, and actually in 2019 there was one question in your prelims regarding this act. So here, as an UPSC aspirant, you have to know about what are the amendments, what are the proposed amendments, and what exactly this Forest Conservation Act is about, and what are the issues. And also we discussed about what is the need of amendments now. So this topic is important from your mains and as well as prelims perspective, which comes under environment and ecology. And next topic it is about Uniform Civil Code. So if you have read Polity Lakshmikant or governance part, you will come across this Uniform Civil Code. And even in our constitution, there are some constitution provisions which talks about this Uniform Civil Code. So here what exactly you need to know? You need to know about what is this Uniform Civil Code if you are a beginner, and you have to see which are the constitutional provisions. That means articles in our constitution talks about this Uniform Civil Code. So apart from this, so why we need to implement this Uniform Civil Code, and you have to see which other countries already came up with this Uniform Civil Code with which we are sharing boundary. That means our bordering countries in which Uniform Civil Code has been implemented. So that comes as case studies, and you have to see what will be the advantages if you are implementing this Uniform Civil Code, and what are the concerns regarding this Uniform Civil Code. So if you know all these dimensions, then your work is done. So this topic is important from your polity and governance, which comes in a GS paper. And next topic it is about North India's monsoons mayhem. So already you know that. So there are increased incidents of landslips or landslides in northern India. So why? Because of torrential rainfall, that is heavy rainfall. So as you all know that every year we will be waiting for monsoon. So monsoon is a rainy season in India. So why we will be waiting for this monsoon season? So as you all know that India's economy is primarily based on agriculture. That is agriculture based. So most of this agriculture in India is based on rainfall. That means rain-fed agriculture is most practiced in India. Correct? So because of this we will be waiting for monsoon. But whether this monsoon is uniform throughout our country? Not exactly. Some areas they will be getting heavy rainfall, and some areas they will be having deficit. So normally in northern part of India we can see monsoon deficit. But unfortunately this year we are seeing there are heavy rainfalls in northern part of our country. So here we have to analyze what are the reasons for the heavy rainfall in northern part of our country. Okay, so that is the important theme of this article. So this topic is important from your geography, which comes in GS paper 1. And next topic it is about the issue regarding PepsiCo. So actually it is not a new issue. So this issue which is going on from 2019 onwards. So PepsiCo, it is a company which produces Lay's. I think no one is there without knowing about this Lay's chips. It is nothing but potato chips, and this potato chips you can get in the different flavors like American onion, and you can get salt, you can get masala, tomato, so you can get different flavors, right? So actually the potato which is used in this preparation of lace is a special potato. So it is having less water content, it is having high solids. So with that texture of that potato we can prepare that chips. So it is not possible with the normal potatoes. So for that potatoes, this PepsiCo got patent. So what happened? So because of one case filed in court, so court cancelled patent rights of that potato. So this is the thing, and you have to see why court cancelled patent rights. So that is the thing which is given in this article. And this topic is important from economy, because in economy we will be reading about this patents, trademarks. And next topic it is about ED, Enforcement Directorate. So actually the tenure of this ED is 2 years, but we can go for extension. So Supreme Court asked ED, that is Enforcement Directorate chief, to quit, but upholds amendments. So recently we came up with amendments that is regarding the extension of tenure. So we can go for extension of tenure for 3 times. So this topic is important from polity, which comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about GST Council. So GST Council to impose 28% tax on online gaming firms. So till now, actually we came up with this GST in 2017. So what happened here? So till 2007, from this 2017 onwards, so there is no clarity on how much GST should be implemented or imposed on this online gaming. And finally we came up with finalization of the GST tax slab on this online gaming firms now. So this topic is important from your GS paper 3 under economy. And next topic is about poll bonds. That means it is regarding the funding for the political parties. So this topic is relevant from the elections point of view, that is funding of political parties. So whenever you are talking about the funding of these political parties, so one thing that need to strike in your mind is electoral bonds. Electoral bond scheme. So actually regarding this electoral bond scheme, number of times we discussed in our earlier videos. So if you have any doubt regarding that electoral bond, so please let me know in the comment box. In the next video we are going to see that. So here title says poll bonds chief source of donations for political party. So recently ADR came up with a report, and this report says that the chief source of political parties, that means the source of income they are getting or the source of donations where they are getting from this electoral bonds. And this topic is very important from your polity, which comes as GS paper 2. And next topic is 415 million Indians came out of multi-dimensional poverty. So in India especially, within last 15 years, 415 million Indians, they came out of this multi-dimensional poverty. So this is according to UNDP study. And whatever the data which is given here, that data is very useful whenever you are going to write your mains answer. So here from this point of view, you have to save the data. Okay, so now let us try to see each and every article in detail. So first topic it is about greenwashing. So I think you can see this article clip that I collected from The Hindu. So if you see, the central theme of this article says that, so whenever we are proposing any changes or amendments to conservation laws, it is especially we are talking about Forest Conservation Act, so it should be backed by scientific evidence. That means we have to focus on both positives and as well as negatives, and based on that positives and negatives we have to go for approval of this changes or amendments. So recently Parliamentary Committee gave green signal to introduce this amendment bill, the House. So House is nothing but in the Parliament in this monsoon session. So we are going to have this monsoon session, right? So in this monsoon session, Here parliamentary committee gave green signal to introduce this bill in the house. Right, so this amendment, it is to the changes which are proposed in Forest Conservation Act of 1980. So what is the issue here? So this amendments or these changes, they attracted objections and controversies, and they are also raising some concerns because of dilution of forest protection. So whenever there is dilution, it will have some negative impact on biodiversity, negative impact on forest rights, negative impact on national security. Okay, so on which areas there is negative impact? That is on biodiversity, forest rights, national security. So if you move on to some important details regarding this article, it says that, so this act, that is Forest Conservation Act of 1980. So this act which safeguards India's forest land. So it will safeguard India's forest land from unauthorized non-forest use. So whenever we are going for diverting of forest land for the non-forest purposes, then there will be compensation. We have to go for compensatory afforestation whenever there is any diversion of forest land to non-forest use. And we also came up with some previous amendments or previous changes. So these previous amendments, they aim to expand protection, but at present the proposed amendments, they are focusing on removing ambiguities, and also they are clarifying the act's applicability and types of land where this act is available. So all these things are given in very clear manner. And this proposed amendments which also emphasizing on improving of forest cover or tree cover, and they are focusing on increasing of carbon sinks, and even they are focusing on national security infrastructure, and they are also even focusing on livelihood opportunities for the tribals who are dependent on this. That means nothing but forest dwelling communities. So why we have to increase this forest cover? Why we have to increase this carbon sink? To achieve our target of carbon neutrality by 2070. And if you're talking about this Forest Conservation Act of 1980, what it talks about? So it is one important legislation. So this law regulates deforestation in the country. So in our country, this deforestation will be controlled by this Forest Conservation Act. And this act which prohibits felling of forest for any non-forestry use. And the clearance process includes seeking of consent from local forest rights holder. And also here central government is empowered to reject such request, or central government can allow them to go for this. And even if you're talking about the process of approval, the diversion of forest land leads to the diversion order by the state government or union territory. They are authorized to use this forest land for the purpose, for the intended purpose. So what are the key features? The first one is it is talking about inclusion and exclusion of land. So here this proposed bill which amends Forest Conservation Act, so which is applicable to the land which comes under Indian Forest Act of 1927, and in government records after 1980 Act which came into effect. So here whenever we are going for the converting of this forest land into non-forest use before 1996, it will not fall under Act's purview. So we're talking about exemptions. There are also some exemptions. So there are certain types of land they can be exempted, like for example the land which is present within 100 kilometers of Indian border, which is required for national security projects, is exempted. And even small roadside amenities, public roads leading to habitation, so these are some exemption. And this bill which also talks about assignment of forest land. So here the state government requires prior approval for the central government to assign any forest land to any private or government entity. And there are some permanent activities. For example, we can go for establishing of checkpost, we can go for fencing, bridges, running zoos, safaris and ecotourism facilities. So these are also the permanent activities under this amendment or amended bill. So if we're talking about what are the controversies, yes, there are some issues regarding the dilution of this Forest Conservation Act. So there are a number of environmental critics and environmental activists. They argued that so whenever we are going for these amendments to this bill, it will dilute Supreme Court judgment which talks about protection of forest. And next important concern here is geographically sensitive areas. So the project within 100 kilometers of international border or the line of control, they would no longer require forest clearance. So because of this, it will raise some issues regarding environment, safety and national security. And next one, it is regarding deemed forest and tourism. So central protection for deemed forest and restrictions on activities like tourism, they could be compromised. So because of this, that will lead to some negative impact on biodiversity conservation and as well as on forest integrity. So there will be also impact on forest cover. So exempting the land near border areas for national security projects, that will adversely affect the forest cover. That will have some negative impact on the wildlife in the northeastern states. And this one is there is also some potential adverse effects. So there will be also blanket exemption for the projects like zoos, safari, ecotourism facilities, etc. So what is the criticism and how we can see the opposition that is seen from the other states? So especially from these northeastern states, we are seeing this opposition because these areas are rich in forest. So these northeastern states, they objected to forest land that can be used for the defense without the consent. So it is one issue. And environmental groups concerns. So environmental organizations, they criticized the removal of central protection for deemed forest. And even there is issue regarding the change of name and as well as controversy. So here the proposal change of the name of this act to One Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan. So here it faced objections of being non-inclusive as well as it is excluding certain regions. So which is the thing which mainly said by the people. So this is a question which appeared in 2019. So try to attempt this question and please let me know the answer in the comment box. And next topic, it is about Uniform Civil Code. So this topic is at most important from your mains. So we're talking about this Uniform Civil Code. So why it is in news now? So if you see our Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister, he has been pushing for Uniform Civil Code. So our Prime Minister, he wants to implement Uniform Civil Code in our country. But now our Prime Minister, he is blaming opposition for trying to instigate Muslims on this issue regarding Uniform Civil Code. So in 2017, actually Supreme Court of India struck down triple talaq. Okay, so triple talaq, it is one of the divorce giving method in Muslims. So here Supreme Court said that this triple talaq is illegal. And in a society that aims to be egalitarian, that is equal society, and the laws that are discriminatory to various sections of society, they have to be amended progressively. So what are the laws which are present in our country? So they are when these laws are showing discrimination against various sections of society, we have to come forward and we have to amend that progressively. So this is the thing which mainly said. And if you're talking about the personal law, so why we need to come up with this UCC? So here if you are talking about the religions, different religions are there. Like for example, Hindus, Muslims, Jains, Parsis, Christians, etc. So each and every religion have their own personal laws. So what is this personal law exactly? So personal law which covers marriage, which covers divorce, which covers succession, which covers inheritance, adoption, alimony, maintenance. So all these are present in this personal laws, but these personal laws, they are British legacy. So at that time we got independence, our law minister, that is B.R. Ambedkar, he was supported by the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and he also recommended that we have to go with this UCC, but it favored being voluntarily. So because of this, now we can see there is a resistance which is existing in our society. And if you're talking about this UCC, it is nothing but it is the formulation of one law for India, and this law will be applicable equally to the different communities. For example, different communities in the case of marriages, divorce, inheritance, and as well as adoption. So we're talking about this constitutional provisions regarding this UCC. So which of the articles talks about this UCC? So first one is Article 44, which says that the state shall endeavour to provide for its citizens a uniform civil code. Okay, and if you're talking about this uniform civil code, so which is included even in our directive principles of state policy, and it is not included in our fundamental rights. So this is very, very important. And if you're talking about what is the significance and as well as need of this uniform civil code, yes, this uniform civil code is very important, obviously. So the first and the foremost thing here is, so it will provide uniform principles throughout our country. So each and every community will be respecting the marriage as an institution. For example, there will be the respect towards marriage, respect towards divorce, respect towards succession, etc. And if you're talking about the next important issue, that is promotion of secularism. So one set of laws, it mainly govern the personal matters of all the citizens irrespective of religion. So irrespective of religion which they belongs to Christians, if they belongs to Hindu, so whatever it may be. So here we are promoting the secularism. So there will be no gender discrimination, there will be no religious grounds discrimination. So because of this, it will strengthen the social fabric of our country. And next one is protection of vulnerable and women rights. So we're talking about this bill, which also, okay, so this UCC will also helpful for the protection of vulnerable sections of society, especially the weaker people and as well as women. And it will also prevent religion-based discrimination. So personal laws differentiate between people on the grounds of religion. Okay, so this UCC, it is a unified law. So in this law, we are having the same provisions regarding marital affairs, and finally it will also help to provide justice. And next, an important one here is ending unjust customs and traditions. A rational, common and unified personal law that will help to eradicate many evil, many unjust and irrational customs and traditions. And next, if you see here, it will also help for removing of vote bank politics. So nowadays this vote bank politics became one important thing here. So whenever there is elections, so there is a spreading of information in the canvas, like they will be focusing on the religion. So if you are having the UCC, so there will be the end to this vote bank politics, and there will be also eases administration. So this UCC would also make it easy to administer the huge population base. And here if you're talking about other countries, so other countries like Morocco, Pakistan, etc., they already following this UCC. So what are the challenges? So it will lead to violation of fundamental rights. So the religious bodies, they oppose uniform civil code on the grounds that it would be interference into the religious affairs. So whenever there is anything which is interfering with this fundamental rights, so it will lead to the clash. Okay, and next one is it will reduces the diversity. And next one is it will also decreases the communal politics. It is also one of the important threat for multiculturalism, and it also leads to the lacking of political will. Okay, so these are some important things that you have to remember regarding this UCC. And now let us see the next topic. The image that you can see is because of heavy rainfall, the water which came up into the houses. So we're talking about this article which is saying about North India's monsoon mayhem. So this article is very important from your geography, which comes in GS paper 1. So actually every year in our country, especially throughout our entire country, we will be waiting for whenever this rainy season will start. So whenever the onset of this monsoon will happen. But the onset of this season is delayed because of some cyclones, some typhoons. So you can quote the recent cyclone Biprasoi. So the deficit, which we can also see in some areas. So here deficit due to delayed onset has been wiped out most of the direction of most of the distribution of the rainfall. So what happened now, we can see there is a delayed onset of this rainfall. So because of this, what happened, the distribution of this rainfall also is very much less, and now we are facing this deficit. And if you see this excessive rainfall which is seen over the northern western Ghats and as well as western northwestern part of our country and Odisha. So in these areas we got the good rainfall. And if you're talking about other areas in the east, we have Chhattisgarh, we have Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. So in these areas there is a good amount of rainfall. So not only this, but Himachal Pradesh, it is having the high temperature. So whenever there is extreme heat, yes, there will be the formation of clouds and that leads to the rainfall. So if you're talking about the reason which posed by author here is climate change. So because of this climate change, we are seeing there is a global warming, and because of this warming world, okay, so because of this warming world, so that led to increasing of precipitation. So this is the first important reason. So every weather event now has some contribution from global warming. So because of this global warming also there is increased rainfall. And next one is wildfires. So wildfires are thus far this year has burned over 3 times. Okay, so here what happened, more than 3 times the wildfires happened. So because of this wildfires, so the forest the trees will be burnt off. So whenever trees are burning off, so that will release more amount of carbon dioxide. So because of this release of carbon dioxide, these plants will be absorbing. So what happened, the plants will still become weak. So if we're talking about the other factors here, so it says that whenever there is excessive rainfall over northwestern part of our country, okay, so because of this there is increased temperature of Arabian Sea. So it is 1.5 degrees centigrade more than normal. So if you see this rainfall, this pre-monsoon was above normal due to combination of warm Arabian Sea. So one more important reason here is because of this warm Arabian Sea. So entire Atlantic Ocean which has been warmer than normal. So because of this also one important reason. Okay, so these are some important reasons: global warming, as local warming, and as well as you can say like because of increasing of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, because of increase of carbon dioxide, because of increasing of temperature of Arabian Sea, and because of increasing of temperature of Atlantic Ocean is becoming warmer day by day. So because of all these reasons, now we can see there is a high precipitation or increased rainfall in this North India. And even you can also add a note on western disturbances. There is increased incidence of western disturbances as well. And next topic, it is about the issue between the farmers and PepsiCo. So this issue, it is regarding potato lace. So this article is important from economy point of view. So if you see the context, it says that on July 5th, the Delhi High Court held that there was no merit in appeal filed by PepsiCo over the patent rights. So over the patent rights, already filed a case in 2019, and now they are coming up with again filing of case with appeal, but High Court said that we are not going to entertain this type of appeals. So if we're talking about this appeal which passed by the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers Act Authority, and actually so this appeal which revoked, that means cancelled this PepsiCo's registration via this unique potato variety. So you have to know about that potato variety. That potato variety is FL 2027. Okay, so actually this is a potato making chip which is very unique because it is having high dry matter, it is having low external defects, deficits, and as well as it is having the high solid content, and it is having the stable sugar, so which can make highly suitable for the potato chips. And according to the applicant, it says that so this breed or this variety of potato is developed by US Robert W. Hoops. So actually this person is a plant breeder and a former employee as well. Okay, so here they got a patent in 2016 for the next 6 years. So however, in the application which filed by Kavita, said that this revoked this company's registration of this potato variety. Okay, so here you have to know about what is this act exactly. So this act which provides the effective framework to conserve and to encourage the development of various plant varieties. So under this act, it is focusing on conserving and it is focusing on encouraging the development of various plant varieties, and it also established an effective system, and this system which safeguards and which recognizes the rights of breeders, it recognizes the rights of researchers, it recognizes the farmers' rights as well. So even it will be helpful for mushrooming of Indian seed industry, and whenever we are attracting the Indian seed industries and as well as MNCs, so it will be helpful for the farmers and it will be helpful for our economy as well. So why there is a revocation, why there is a stopping of or cancelling of license? So first one is under this act, so revocation can be done if the information given by the applicant is wrong, if the registration is applied by an ineligible person. So if the breeder does not provide the registrar with the required documents, and if there is any failure to provide an alternative denomination for variety registration, and whenever there is a failure of a breeder to provide required seeds for the compulsory license, and whenever there is a failure to comply to the acts, rules, regulations, etc., and if they are granting the registration certificate is against the public interest. So in all these cases there will be revocation. Okay, so now let us see the next topic is about ED, that is Enforcement Directorate. Supreme Court asks AD chief to quit but upholds amendments. So here you have to see what are the amendments, and you have to see some facts regarding Enforcement Directorate, and this topic is important from your polity point of view, which comes in a GS paper 2. So now let us try to see the context. Supreme Court asked Enforcement Directorate, that is ED Director, that is Sanjay Kumar Mishra, to quit 4 months before the third extension. So before the third extension, so before the 4 months itself, our Supreme Court said to quit. So here CBI and ED, they have the tenure of fixed time, that is 2 years, but recently we came with amendments. So this amendments introduced in 2021 to Central Vigilance Act, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, and the fundamental rules to allow annual extensions. So we can go for extensions, that is 3 annual extensions. So here actually Supreme Court directed this Mishra to resign, okay, to quit and to stop the extensions. So the amendment allowed by the government to overcome the court's direction for another 2 extensions. So if we're talking about this ED, that is Enforcement Directorate, it is a specialized financial investigation agency, and this agency which comes under Ministry of Finance but not Defense. So this is one important fact, and it is also responsible for enforcing the provisions of Prevention of Money Laundering Act, that is PMLA, and as well as FEMA in case of economic offences and as well as cross-border crimes. And actually this ED was established in year 1956, and it is a wing of Department of Revenue, and it deals with foreign exchange violations under Foreign Exchange Regulation Act of 1947. So what are the functions here? The functions here is these. The first one is it will go for investigations, it will go for prosecutions of case of money laundering, and will be also adjudicate the cases regarding contravention of FEMA, and impose the penalties to confiscate foreign exchange, and will be also helpful for conducting the researches, seizures, arrest, etc. And it will also gather and it will also analyze the financial intelligence from the various sources as well. So here they will be also helpful with the cooperation with the foreign counterparts in the matters of interest. And if there is any fugitives, that means the people who are taking the loans here and they are moving outside the country, so they will be called as fugitives, and regarding these fugitives also this ED plays an important role. And if you're talking about why it is very much important to fix tenure for this ED, so first one is whenever there is any institution or any post like ED, so here we have to ensure that there is stability, there is continuity in the functioning of agency. So for that, yes, we have to ensure this so and so is a time period, and we have to protect this ED director from the political interference as well, and as well as the political pressure, so that they will not compromise on the integrity and as well as impartiality. And we have to enhance the credibility and as well as reputation of enforcement directorate as well. So this is about this topic, and next topic it is about GST Council. So title says GST Council to impose 28% of tax on online gaming. So till now there is no clarification regarding so how much amount of or how much percentage of this GST will be imposed on these online games. And now we finally came up, and now GST Council decided 28% of this tax slab. So if you say context, it says that GST Council, is Goods and Service Tax Council, in its meeting it reduced or it clarified the tax rate on the some items. So they are ranging from the uncooked and as well as unfried snack pellets to special utility vehicles, that is SUVs, and also they exempted imported drugs that are used for the treating of cancer and some rare diseases, etc. And they also came up with finalization of this tax slab for the online gaming, casinos, and as well as horse racing. So if you see details, it says that here whenever we are going for playing of online games, whether it will involve the skill or involve the chance or both or neither, when you are going for bets and as well as wagers made on these all three activities, so it will attract 28% of levy on this online gaming. So here the council also examined the state's proposal to set up benches, that is tribunals, okay, GST appellate tribunals in the country, and finally they are going to come up with this 50 benches of this GST appellate tribunals. And the government has said that statutory bodies to resolve the GST disputes, okay. And if you're talking about the facts regarding GST, so we came up with this GST in 2017 with an amendment, okay, so this is 122nd amendment. And if you're talking about this GST Council, it is a joint forum of both central and as well as state government, and this GST Council was set up by our president as per Article 279A, so class 1. And the members of this council, which includes Union Finance Minister, will be chairman, and Union Minister for the states, that is Finance Minister from the states. And the next one here is each state they can nominate the members in charge of finance or taxation or any other minister as a member. So now let us try to see the next topic. It is about poll bonds. Poll bonds, they are the chief source of donations for the political parties. So this is according to the ADR report, okay, Association of Democratic Reforms. So here you have to know some facts, and the data is very important. So if you see the context, it says that electoral bonds. So we came up with this electoral bond scheme regarding the funding, regarding the transparency in the funding of this political parties during elections. So actually here the electoral bonds, they were one of the chief source of donations for political parties. And if you see recently, so BJP party got huge amount of donations. So if you see the data, it says that between 2016-17 and 2021-22, 7 national and 24 regional parties, so these mainly received a total donation of rupees 9,188 crore from poll bonds. And even other national parties also they got some funds, and even some parties as well. So if we're talking about the next article, it is about multi-dimensional poverty. So you have to know what is this multi-dimensional poverty. So this is your homework, students. So you have to see exactly what is this multidimensional poverty index. So here you have to let me know what is exactly and what is India's status. So if you text me in the comment box in tomorrow's lecture, I will be announcing the student who gave the correct answer. Okay. So here title says 415 million Indians, they came out of multi-dimensional poverty in 15 years. So this is according to United Nations Development Program report. So now let us try to see this topic in detail. So if you see context, it says that a total of 415 million people, they moved out of poverty. So how many? That is 415 million people, they moved out of poverty in India in just 15 years. That is from 2005 to 2019 to 21. So now what happened? The following of this, it is from a 55.1 percentage to 16.4 percentage. So this is the thing which is led by United Nations Development Program. So if you see the details, it says that the latest update of Global Multidimensional Poverty Index, which released by United Nations Development Program. So here this index also very important. So you can get a question like multi-dimensional poverty index recently seen in news. So which organization released that? That is UNDP. UNDP releases multi-dimensional poverty index, and as well as Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative released this multi-dimensional poverty index. So in this index it said that 25 countries including India, they successfully halved their global multi-dimensional poverty within last 15 years. So other countries also worked hard to decrease this. Other countries are like Cambodia, China, Congo, Honduras, India, Indonesia, Morocco, Serbia and Vietnam. And according to this report, people who are multidimensionally poor, they are deprived under nutrition indicator. And here India declined from 44% to 11%, and even child mortality rate had been decreased. Okay, so this is about this topic. And as I said, you are going to see one country which is seen in news. So actually Israel is in news today. So this is Israel. Okay, so this is Israel, and here you can see this is Gaza Strip. Here we have West Bank. So in this Gaza Strip and West Bank, we can see Palestinians will be there, and the countries which are sharing boundary with this Israel, or the first one is Lebanon here, and here you can see Syria, you can see Jordan, you can see Egypt, and this blue color part, it is a Dead Sea, and it is also having border with this Mediterranean Sea as well. Okay, so this is about the country which is seen in news. And now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our today's Hindu. Date is July 12th and today is Wednesday. So first topic, it is about the Supreme Court asks ED chief to quit but upholds amendment. So I discuss this topic. And here you can see Kerala revises its plan for semi-high speed rail. So you have to see how developmental projects which have the impact on environment, that is environment versus economy. And I discussed about this topic regarding 28% of slap on online games. And if you move forward in the state space, there is nothing much important. You can skip this page and you can directly move on to editorial. So in this editorial, so there is no need of reading about politicians, and this is also not much important, that is regarding Indian cricket. So I discussed this topic regarding Forest Conservation Act Amendment Bill. And here in yesterday's lecture we discussed about World Population Day. So here in this World Population Day we are focusing on women empowerment, and yesterday's lecture we discussed that. And if you move forward, I discussed about this Uniform Civil Code. So if you have time, if you are from Karnataka, you have to see about this development in this Bangalore and Mysore, but why there is no development in this Kalburagi and as well as Belgavi. And if you move on to this text and context, I discussed about this monsoon, I discussed about this PepsiCo case, and if you have time you can go through this Chat GPT. So this Chat GPT is also very important regarding artificial intelligence. And in this news page you can see about this topic Place of Worship Act. So once it is clear, so we are going to get a lot of articles there. We are going to discuss that. And if you move forward, I discussed about this topic regarding electoral bonds. And here you can see one more cheetah from Africa dies in Kono National Park. So here you have to see about this Project Tiger. So there is a high chance of getting question in your mains regarding this Project Tiger. And next one is 415 million Indians. They came out of multidimensional poverty. In 15 years I discussed this. And in the world page, there's article regarding Saudi deposits $2 billion in Pakistan Central Bank. So go through this article once. And in the business page, you can see this article, that is global COVID-19 spending may touch $500 billion by 2027. So this article is also important. And next one is Schedule M to be mandatory for MSME pharma firms. So this is a thing which mainly said by Union Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers. So go to this article once. And these are some important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So if you really like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to Rathod Science Academy if you are visiting our videos for the first time. And next one is try to share these videos with your friends as well. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, and we are going to meet in the next session. Until then, bye bye.